parts of the country, as well as what is happening in the city. And of course, before we start, we look at the day's diary, starting with these reforms in the education sector, which is the story making headlines today and the biggest conversation of the day. Primary junior schools to be managed as one, among other reforms in the from the report given by the task force that was set to give recommendations on the CBC. Away from that, there's the story on WorldCoin. Thousands of Kenyans who yesterday thronged the KICC, hoping to get at least 8,000 shillings for the eye scanning from the cryptocurrency firm named as WorldCoin. There's a story that we are following up, and of course also the story on the cabinet secretaries and being aware of what they do in their docket continues, as some of the cabinet secretaries are expected in the National Assembly and Senate as well. The Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture, as well as the Cabinet Secretary for Labor, Florence Bore, and the CS for Agriculture, Mithika Linturi, expected in the National Assembly later today to answer questions concerning their dockets. Of course, that is as the President said that these CSs will be appearing before the National Assembly and the Senate to answer questions on accountability and their mandate as far as their dockets are concerned. We also have CS Soipan Tuya of Environment and CS Alice Ohome to be in the Senate later today to answer several questions concerning their dockets. Away from that, we also have the search for DPP enters day 2 as interviews for the next Director of Public Prosecutions begin, and the search for a replacement for Nordin Haji begins. This is day 2 of the search and also the last day of that exercise that is ongoing. Yesterday we saw the lawyer Dansan Omari show up, as well as the senior assistant of the DPP. It is also the World Breastfeeding Week, and away from that, we expect the post-election evaluation report by the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties to release the post-election evaluation report for the 2022 general election. But to just get a gist of what can expect from the newsroom today, I am joined by mtangazaji vile reporter katika Runinga TV 47, Josh Onsare. Hujambo?
Sijambo, shukran sana kwa kunikaribisha katika awamu hii asubuhi. Tuzungumzie taarifa ambazo tunazitarajia siku ya leo. Na kuna mengi tu ambayo yanajitokeza. Afisi ya msajili wa vyama vya kisiasa wa RPP hii leo wanatoa ile taarifa, wanatoa ripoti ya baada ya uchaguzi wa mwaka 2022. Na utakumbuka kwamba kulikuwepo na uchaguzi huu ulishuhudia matukio mbalimbali. Na tuliweza kuona namna vyama ambavyo vilijiendesha. Na tutakuwa tunaona ripoti hiyo inaangazia nini haswa, lakini kikubwa ni kuangazia namna vyama viliendesha shughuli zao, kutoka usajili hadi katika namna ya kuendesha zile chaguzi mbalimbali, kutoka uwakilishi wadi, ubunge, mwakilishi wa kike, na vile vile nafasi ya seneta, gavana, hata pia rais. Ndio. Na hafla hiyo ishaanza katika hoteli moja hapa jijini Nairobi, inatarajiwa kukamilika mwendo wa saa 7. Taarifa ambayo tutamfahamisha mtazamaji wetu kadri muda unavyozidi kusonga. Ndio.
Mbali na hayo, kuna vile vile taarifa ya ripoti ya Josh Kolera, yaitwaje kwa Kiswahili?
Ripoti wanazindua ile kampeni. Ni kampeni ya utoaji chanjo ya kipindupindu. Ni ugonjwa ambao unahusishwa sana na masuala ya usafi. Iwapo mazingira ni machafu, basi huenda ukapata ugonjwa wa kipindupindu. Na Wizara ya Afya, the Ministry of Health, is launching the oral vaccination campaign, which is expected to happen in Isinya, in Kajiado County. That is tomorrow. So we are looking forward to see what the campaign entails, and the ministry has also called upon Kenyans to ensure that they maintain high levels of hygiene, so that we can be able to avert the effects of cholera in the country. Yes.
Vile vile kuna mazungumzo ya maridhiano kati ya muungano wa Azimio na Kenya Kwanza. Ni kipi tunachotarajia kuanzia leo?
Kuna mengi ambayo tunayatarajia kwa sababu mazungumzo hayo hayajaanza rasmi. Kwa sababu yatakuwa yanaendeshwa na aliyekuwa rais wa Nigeria Olusegun Obasanjo, na ambaye atakuwa ndio mpatanishi wa pande mbili, upande wa Azimio na vile vile upande wa Kenya Kwanza. Hivi sasa upande wa Azimio ushatoa majina ya wanachama watano, wanachama wakiongozwa na kinara ama kiongozi wa chama cha Wiper Kalonzo Musyoka, ambaye pia ni mmoja wa kinara wa katika muungano huo wa Azimio. Hivyo basi tutakuwa tunatupia jicho tu kuangalia ni kipi kitatoka katika upande wa Kenya Kwanza. Tunatarajia majina pia kutoka upande huo ili tuweze kuona kutakuwa vipi, lakini hivi sasa Flora, tumbo joto, mambo yanachemka wanaposema hapa jijini Nairobi kwamba mambo yanachemka. Tutakuwa tunasubiri tu, hisia ni mseto. Kuna Wakenya wanahisi kwamba wamesalitiwa na wanasiasa. Pia we'll be looking at the interests because these are politics and people are serving their own interests. So tutakuwa tunaangalia watajali maslahi ya Mkenya au watakuwa wanaangalia maslahi yao tu binafsi ya kisiasa.
Na ujue ile ripoti ambayo Kimani Ichung'wah aliwasilisha na Azimio nao wakaja na maslahi yao. Sasa tunatarajia kuona pia ni tutafuatilia gani? Ni hii ambayo inaongelea gharama ya maisha ama ni hii ambayo inaongelea kuhusu yale mabadiliko katika Tume Huru ya Uchaguzi na Mipaka nchini?
Kikubwa hapa naangalia ni kwa mtazamo wangu na kwa sababu katika udadisi wangu nikiangalia kuna siasa nyingi na ukiangalia namna ilivyo hivi sasa kila mwamba ngoma anavuta upande wake. Azimio wanataka hiki na Kenya Kwanza wanataka hiki. Kuna mtu ambaye ama tukiangalia katika hii mirengo miwili, kuna wale ambao wanaangalia wanasema kwamba tunataka kuafikia hili. Mwingine anataka kusema kwamba anataka kuafikia hili. Kuna mengi, tuna wadadisi wale wa kisiasa pia wameshadokeza kwamba haya mazungumzo kati ya Kenya Kwanza na Azimio utapata kwamba kuna jambo ambalo limejificha. Huenda baadhi ya wale ambao wako kwenye Azimio wakataka kuwa ndani ya serikali na si mara ya kwanza, tumeweza kuyaona katika chaguzi na katika serikali zilizopita. Ni vuruga tu, alafu unapata wale wa upinzani wamewekwa kwenye baraza la mawaziri. Ni mambo ambayo labda tunatarajia katika serikali ya Rais William Ruto. Hivyo ni tufungue macho, ni mambo ambayo tunayakusudia.
Naam. Na wewe ni reporter ambaye unafuatilia kwa kina sana masuala ya mabadiliko ya tabia nchi, na hii inahusiana na ile wizara ya mazingira na waziri wa masuala ya mazingira Soipan Tuya leo anatarajiwa katika seneti kujibu tu maswali kuhusiana na hiyo wizara. Ni yapi yanayoendelea katika wizara hiyo, tukikumbuka kwamba kuna ile sheria ya kukata miti ambayo rais alitoa wiki iliyopita. Vile vile sasa kuna hii kampeni ya kuhusu mabadiliko ya tabia nchi. Maoni yako kama ripota wa masuala ya mazingira?
Siku zote Flora Limoki, unajua kwamba mazingira ndo binadamu. Iwapo tutayaharibu mazingira, basi huenda hatuna mahali ambapo tutapaita nyumbani. Na waziri Soipan Tuya hivi sasa akienda katika kamati ya seneti, tunatarajia zungumzie masuala ile marufuku ya ukataji miti ambayo iliweza kuondolewa. Ni marufuku ambayo ilikuwa imewekwa na serikali iliyopita, na hivi sasa hiyo marufuku imeondolewa na ni dhahiri shairi kwamba ukipita katika maeneo ambayo kuna misitu, miti imekatwa. Pitia maeneo ya Timboroa, utaweza kupata hivi sasa peupe miti inakatwa, mbao zinatayarishwa. Hata ukienda kwa wale ambao ni wauzaji wa mbao, unapata kwamba mbao zimeongezeka kwa sababu awali ilikuwa ni marufuku. Ukipatikana uko na hiyo miti, uko na they call them logs and also the timber, you'll realize that zilikuwa finyu sana, hakukuwepo, zilikuwa zinafanywa siri. Lakini saa hizi magari unapata yanabeba barabarani yakipeleka kwenye vituo mbalimbali katika shughuli za kutayarisha furniture. Hivyo tutakuwa tunatarajia hilo. Vile vile tutakuwa tunatupia jicho ili swala la kongamano la masuala ya mabadiliko ya tabia nchi. Kongamano ambalo linafanyika hapa jijini Nairobi ambao ni mwezi wa Septemba. Tuko na siku tu za kuhesabu. Pia tutakuwa tunasikia waziri anasemaje kuhusiana na swala hilo. Ndio. Mbali na hayo mambo ni mengi. Tutakuwa tunamtaarifu mtazamaji wetu. Si masaa, ni saa ndo chache.
Nimesema
saa. Napenda huo umakinifu na pia huo uzuri kwa kuendeleza lugha ya Kiswahili. Na tutakuwa tunatupia jicho masuala hayo kwa kina kwa sababu taarifa zinazidi kuchipuka kila wakati na mtazamaji wetu wakuwe na uhakika kwamba hapa ndani ya TV47 tutakuwa tunawafahamisha ni yepi yanajiri kutoka mashinani, kutoka vijijini hadi mijini ili waweze kumakinika na kujua ni yapi yanajiri.
Asante sana Joshua. So I probably think I've spoken the Swahili for the whole month.
Kizuri sana.
Naam, tukuze Kiswahili.
Kabisa.
All right, thank you so much for that update, and of course just some more updates on what we expect. The Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture and Livestock Development will respond to members' questions regarding the re-emergence. This is Mithika Linturi will be expected in the National Assembly at around 3 p.m. He'll answer questions concerning the re-emergence of animal diseases and proliferation of unlicensed and unregulated animal medicine in the country, the state of production and supply of the BT cotton seeds to farmers, the poor pricing of macadamia nuts in the country, skyrocketing prices and availability and distribution of the fertilizers, and availability and distribution of subsidized fertilizers, across all the 290 constituencies. There's also the agreement that the Kenya has the Zambia for production of maize, and also the quantity of fertilizer distributed to farmers in Buri constituency. Of course, the biggest conversation in the Ministry of Agriculture and that docket is concerning the issue of subsidized fertilizer, which was one of the biggest promises of the Kenya Kwanza government as they were coming in. And of course, we've been seeing that being given to farmers while they expect the prices of fertilizer to lower to 2,500 shillings. There's also Honorable Florence Bore, the Cabinet Secretary for Labor and Social Protection, will also be appearing in the National Assembly later today at 3 p.m. She'll be expected to answer on matters welfare of Kenyans working in Saudi Arabia and efforts geared towards regulated licensing and recruiting agencies, incorporation of senior citizens into the older persons cash transfer scheme, as well as the formulation policy framework to support children whose parents or guardians are incarcerated. There's also the plight of orphans, widows, and widowers in the country. She will also be expected to answer on the effectiveness of Inua Jamii program since its inception. Away from that, Bore will also answer on the eligibility of cancer survivors being registered as persons with disabilities. And this morning at 9:30, the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Soipan Tuya, is to answer some of these issues to the senators, including the Cabinet Secretary to provide reasons for the failure by the Chief Conservator of Forest to approve the use of the land in Jukini Forest for right of way of the Ngariama and Jukini water projects in Kirinyaga County, and also the CS is to provide a timeline of the commencement and completion of that specific project. And before we break, also the Cabinet Secretary for Water, Irrigation and Sanitation, Alice Wahome, to appear before the Senate this morning to answer on questions, provide an update on the status of construction of canals and drains in Mutidi Ward and the Moya Irrigation Development Project, and also the state of the measures the government is taking to ensure the completion of the project. And away from that, Wahome is to indicate whether any funds have been allocated to the project in the 2023-2024 financial year. That is just some of what we expect to be going on later today. But right now we take a short commercial break. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned. Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Morning Cafe. Of course, keep interacting with us at TV47 News on Twitter, X, TV47 Kenya on Facebook. The hashtag is Morning Cafe. But right now we cross over to Kisii County, where reporter Alphayo Kombo is standing by to give us an update from that specific county. Good morning, Alphayo. What can we expect from that specific county today? What is happening?
Thank you very much. I'm getting you very well from this side of Kisii County. As you can see that I'm in the central part of Kisii Nyanza Market. This where we are seeing that businesses here at Kisii Town are going on as usual. And there's nothing much here that is happening in Kisii Town, being that there have been reported cases of insecurity. And since Monday, being that today there is another troop of people that will be arraigned in court over some issues of what they call famously known as mchele, like 4 women, where two were arraigned yesterday. Today 2 will be arraigned in court, where 1 victim succumbed to death over the use of those drugs. And today in Kisii County, we are expecting to have the housing PS and his team from Nairobi, where right now they are at Migori, but later in the day at 11 a.m. they'll be expected to arrive here at Kisii County, and where they'll be going to have a spot or ground check at Nyanchwa area, where they'll be where the project of affordable housing, which is one of President William Samoei Ruto projects. And as we can see that here at Kisii County, we see that everything, businesses are as normal, and nothing more that is happening. And within the day, we'll be walking around to inform you what is happening here at Kisii County. And in order to make sure you, our viewer, who is watching us here from various parts of the county, to keep you informed of what is going to happen. And if I may continue informing you that today here also here in Kisii County, we'll be having sports of special needs students that will be happening in a place known as Nyanchwa Special Needs School, where different people, different schools will be participating largely in those competitions. This is a special competition that is going to happen in that school, where you have been just viewing sports from other secondary schools, primary schools from normal. And I think this is a special kind of event that will be held at that area. This is a day like this. And as I can see today, it's a very cold morning, and it seems like it will be raining anytime from now. But we just thank God that it won't rain so early, so that we can be able to inform our people of what is going to happen here at Kisii County. From Kisii County, I don't think there is much more that I can inform you, and that's all that we have from this side. Maybe I'll be passing back the mantle to you in studio.
Well, thank you so much, Alphayo Kombo, for that update. And of course, we do expect much more of updates from different reporters stationed in different parts of the country, even as we look forward to the next hour of the TV47 Matukio. Of course, thank you for keeping us company for these 4 hours.
Yes, once again, a reminder of the highlights this morning.
Education reforms sweeping reforms in the education. Hey,
education.
What is happening? Sweeping reforms in the education sector to ease burden on CBC learners as Tim Hands report to the president.
It wasn't so hard, was it?
What's that?
Former U.S. President Donald Trump criminally charged with plotting to overturn his 2020 election defeat, the third indictment this year.
And back in Africa, first French flight evacuating Europeans from Niger arrives in Paris with 262 people on board following last week's coup.
And to the top story this morning, learners in schools countrywide are staring at sweeping changes to the school programs following far-reaching recommendations made by the Presidential Working Party on education reforms. The changes recommended include the scrapping of the categorization of secondary schools and the removal of compulsory subjects for career choices. The Working Party has recommended that the traditional categorization of secondary schools into national, extra-county, county and sub-county schools be phased out with the 844 system. Instead, under the CBC system, the schools will be categorized in line with the career pathways of learners. Under the changes aligned with the transition to CBC at the high school level, the party recommends that learners have options in subjects that will determine their careers. The party has also asked the KICD to rationalize the number of learning areas at junior high. Currently, students are expected to study a total of 14 subjects. And from our top story today, we asked, do you support the recommended reforms in the education sector? We asked you to share your feedback on X at TV47 News. That's a handle. On text at the short code 22047, and on Facebook TV47 Kenya. That's the page. And Stanley has some of the feedback.
It's definitely on Facebook at TV47KE. People really talking. Kiptar Bay Arab Rono says whether we support it or not, Ruto must implement it. The day he deducted NSSI from people who already have Provident Fund savings without consultation. So he must. Michael Loma says, how do I support something that I even don't understand? I have been going through the report since yesterday, but up to now, the only thing I'm able to capture is the word junior secondary. Probably the other things are just really passing him. Shedrack Mulo says, no, Magoha, and in brackets RIP, left the education ministry in safe hands. I don't know what the hurry is for. Maybe tribalism has found its way in our education sector, which is a shame. How can one who has scored an A fail to be admitted to university? Raising pertinent issues there, saying, other than that matter, Nyakundi Omuro says, opinions doesn't matter. Well, on our end, that's actually a very bold feedback, if you ask me.
It does matter, opinion does matter, because the Presidential Working Party actually went around the country collecting public views. So the report that they've presented to the President yesterday was not just a work of a closed-door meeting. These are the end result of some almost 1 year of collecting public views.
But then some would argue we give out our own views, but then we are not really seeing them. tabled here.
Well, probably that could be an arguable issue. But then again, how many people have actually read this report? As I said, communication about the nitty-gritties inside the report, even us, we do not know. We've just been looking at the headlines and how the dailies have broken down some of the highlights. But then again, highlights don't tell us the full story. There could be details in that report that could have far-reaching effects on parents, teachers, and educators as well. And so, well, probably as Kenyans, we need to develop a reading culture. This is information that's in the public domain. Absolutely. Go out, look for that report and read it.
Yeah. And a little bit of trust towards the people that we give the mandate to oversee some of these projects.
Oh yes, that too.
Because from the views, Kenyans, most of them there, you'll see some saying, I believe itapita tu. I've not read it, but I najua itapita tu.
Actually, I was going there. Michael, rather not Michael, but then McLean, James Wangila says, either we support it, whether we support or no, Kenya kitu ikishasemwa, na hivyo ndio itakuwa.
Yeah. I think there's a very funny comment I saw there, someone saying, itapita tu as long as ni hii serikali imesema ni serikali ya Mungu, so tutapitisha tu.
Well, the other thing you should know is that the report definitely will have to go through parliamentary processes as well, because some of these policies that are far-reaching need the approval of Parliament. And the Education Committee probably will now have to praise itself for the contents of the report. And it's also an opportunity for Kenyans once again, probably because each parliamentary committee, as required by law, still has to conduct its own public participation sessions. And this is a conversation that definitely should continue. Yes. It should not end at the 2-3 headlines that we've read out today. It matters to everyone. Yes.
Fred, as a parent, have you been doing the assignments?
Oh yes, I can tell you I have many daughters. One of my daughters is in grade 7, and this is the younger one. Yes. And she's well, I've done a lot of the printing and CBC work. I've done it, a lot of it.
And having your hands dirty there.
Actually, I relate with the complaints by parents that they actually felt the burden of CBC for the past few years that it's been in existence. Yes. Right. And you get to do, but then again, on the other hand, it forces you as a parent to actually be present and there with your child and see the progress. So both ways it works, but then again, there's a question of disparity between urban areas and rural areas. And that has been the biggest debate. Yes. You cannot compare schools in Nairobi, for example, to those in rural areas, especially when it comes to CBC.
True. Yeah. Time to...
Well, I guess it's time to wrap up this edition of Morning Cafe. Well, it's been a pleasure. We really enjoyed the conversation. And you tell us, how do you feel? What's your feedback about the show so far? We've done how many episodes? About 10?
About 10. Today is Wednesday. This is actually day 14.
Yes.
No, day 10.
Day 10.
It's 5 days, Yes. So it's basically 2 weeks of being on Morning Cafe.
So what do you think about the new look Morning Cafe?
Do you like
How hot is your coffee where you are?
It's definitely, and asante sana. For me, well, there's, you get to see these faces tomorrow. Well, you get to see Hibackside and I in a place we like to call the Marketplace at 9 p.m. where we discuss matters business and crunch the numbers just for you. I'm yours truly, Stanley Nyirungita.
Okay.
I wish you a lovely day, and of course, looking forward to having you right here, same time tomorrow in the morning. I'm Flora Limuki.
And my name is Fred Ndimuli, and my colleagues here have been teaching me that every day you learn something new. Make sure you learn something new today. See you again tomorrow morning on Morning Cafe.
The hashtag Morning Cafe.